Didn't see the show. Thanks for the orange juice. Popcorn? Yeah, great. We're good at popcorn.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the City of Maitland, I'd like to welcome you here today. My name is Doug Kinson, Mayor of our great city. And really, we're here today to shed light on a project that will be instrumental, and not only in the City of Maitland, but throughout Central Florida and throughout the state for many years to come. Our program today will come in three parts. The first part is really a presentation giving you some additional details with respect to Maitland Town Center, which encompasses this block that you're sitting in now and the block across Horatio. Second part will be a brief walking tour with the governor to Horatio, over to City Hall, and then back to the podium, where we will have the final part, which is where we'll have the speeches and introduce the dignitaries and so on. So, by the way, if there are any dignitaries that I don't have on my list, please make sure I know about you before we reach the podium. At this point, I'd like to introduce Mr. Bob Reese. Bob Reese is with the... Bob is with the Brossier company, which is the developer that we've been working with for many years. Bob, from the very beginning, has been working with the City of Maitland to help create an environment and a project that will transform this area into a pedestrian-friendly area that will be environmentally significant in terms of our downtown, and that our residents will enjoy for literally generations to come. Bob is a great partner with the City of Maitland, and he's been willing all along the way to work with us to create a win-win, not just for the developer and the development community, but for the state and for the residents of our community as well. He's recognized from the very beginning the importance of green technology and the importance of being sensitive to the environment and that type of thing. But most importantly, he's been very proactive in his approach throughout our discussions, and has not shied away from going after properties or assembling properties, which is key to downtown developments across the state. So with that, Bob, let's get going with the presentation. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Reese.
Thank you. On the books and have been very difficult politically to get your hands around, and developers in the past really haven't embraced the neighborhoods and the neighbors. So what we did was here every week for about a year and a half, we had little community meetings in this very room, and we made everybody in Maitland a developer, kind of developer 101, and this is part of the we went through. And what attracted me to this area, I'm a fourth generation Floridian, and I actually just live about 1.5 miles from here, and I really haven't done too much stuff in Maitland, but this right here is something that's near and dear to my heart as a Floridian. And my grandmother was one of the first groups. She was a conservationist. She was actually born in the 1890s, and in the 20s she was a Save Our Everglades person, so that's really where I got it from. And urban infill, if we're ever going to combat urban sprawl or curtail urban sprawl, or turn the tail on it, this is what we have to do. Maitland is very significant in the state and very significant in Central Florida, in that it is the most densely populated part of Central Florida. To give you an example, a 10-mile lane from downtown Orlando is 852,000 roughly. Maitland is 890,000 roughly. So when you throw a dart in Central Florida and you hit the center of the center, it lands right here.
One more. I just want to make sure that everybody understands this does not mean that Maitland's a target. Okay.
Right. I'm just showing the significance for smart growth, if you will.
And what's interesting about this is the first ring in the middle is 5 miles out. The second ring is 10 miles out, right at Millennia, and it's up to Lake Mary. But if you go 15 miles out from the City of Maitland, where we're sitting here, you go south of the tourist attractions and then north of Sanford, north of Seminole County. So we really are the center and heart of Central Florida.
Thank you. There are these issues.
Yeah, with respect to the Maitland Town Center, which is a unique development, and I'll use the I'll use the aerial from top to bottom, and we'll see a little bit more of it here. The green box that you see, the top green box, represents Maitland Town Center. It's this block, and it's the additional block to the north of Horatio. And really what Maitland Town Center has become, through many discussions, not only with residents, but with developers and others throughout our community, it's become a solution for all of the blight that you see around us, north, south, east, and west. So it's really the perfect project coming to our community. It's located within a community redevelopment area, and if we look at the aerial, all that you see outlined in yellow is our 209-acre downtown. It's a community redevelopment area where taxes above a certain level get reinvested back into the area for improvement of roads, sewers, water, sidewalks, electrical, etc. And brownfield to green roof, with respect to the DEP brownfield designation, is important because, as we'll see on our walking tour, we have a cleaners to the right. We have a cleaners across the street. And on one of the most prime intersections of all of Maitland, the corner of Horatio and 1792, we have an old dilapidated gas station turned into a used car lot. So that's what we're dealing with just within what we can see out the windows of the site. So the brownfield really is the setting up of an area that allows incentives for any owners within the designated area to be able to take advantage of that if there happens to be contamination at any point in the area. So it's very significant for us to proceed with that. Commuter rail is another indication that the city of Maitland is really on the front end of things that are happening with respect to the state of Florida. There was no question in my mind that we wanted to pursue commuter rail as a city. We voted unanimously to proceed with it at City Council. And we were actually the first city to sign our interlocal agreement for all along the 60-mile trek. So what we have going on right now with respect to commuter rail is a mixed-use development outside of the town center development, which will be delivered in 2010, right at the same time that the commuter rail station and the trains are up and running. So very significant. And then finally, pedestrian or mixed use, creating a sense of place. This is critically important, and I'll talk about it in a minute, because of the major north-south thoroughfares and because of the major east-west thoroughfares. So pedestrian accessibility, actually it's pedestrian mobility along with bicycles and automobiles have to be included in that in order to be able to move our families safely within and throughout this pedestrian-centered corridor. And this is once again our CRA, and I'll just point out very quickly a couple of the unique characteristics about the city of Maitland. I've talked about the major north-south thoroughfares, which is 1792 going from the north to the south, and then Horatio going from the east to the west. But what you see in this map is all of the residential areas that surround our downtown. So these are all rooftops, these are all single-family homes. So unlike maybe the city of Winter Park that has opportunity for development outside of their downtown core, we really won't have that luxury. 50 to 100 years from now, these areas are still going to be single-family homes to some degree. So we really don't have the ability to develop out. So what we need to do, and what Bob and our conversations have been, is to create this downtown core in this downtown area that has the right densities, that has the right uses, such that at the end of the day, it creates a very successful project for us, for the city, and for the community. And this is, you know, it's interesting. This is interesting because this map, the master planning of the corridor, is the end result of the conversations that we first started with. Actually, I'll take it back. Bob closed on the Winn-Dixie property directly behind these walls, and he closed on the shops here. That is the development that we're in. And this is the area right in here. This small part is the Winn-Dixie and the Plaza shops. What happened was we engaged in discussions about making it a lot bigger than just the development of a half a block. And discussions went towards developing an entire block because the city owns where City Hall is, and then creating a pedestrian-friendly walkway and thoroughfare that is not directly on 7